I've always been curious about the little oddities in life, the kind of things that seem out of place yet pull you toward them like gravity. It was one of those ordinary Saturdays, with the sun creeping through my blinds and the faint hum of my phone reminding me of overdue errands. I didn't plan on changing my life that day, let alone my body, but sometimes life doesn't ask for your permission. I found the box at an estate sale. It wasn't supposed to be there, really, just a dusty thing shoved onto the farthest table, surrounded by cracked glassware and dull jewelry. The handwritten tag tied to it read, "Mom's Feminization Package." I chuckled under my breath, thinking it was some outdated joke or perhaps a misguided beauty kit. The vendor didn't seem to care much about it. $5, he muttered, barely looking at me. The box was heavy, heavier than it looked. Intricately carved swirls adorned its edges, and the faint scent of lavender wafted from it, oddly comforting and slightly intoxicating. My mom had always loved lavender. Maybe that's why I felt a pang of nostalgia holding it, imagining her teasing me with some embarrassing grooming kit if she were still around. I bought it not because I needed it, but because curiosity outweighed reason. What could Mom's Feminization Package even mean? Makeup? Some vintage hairstyling contraption? I stuffed the box into my backpack and pedaled home, thoughts of the mysterious purchase flitting in and out as I rode. The box sat on my kitchen table, almost mocking me with its cryptic label. I made myself a cup of coffee, its warmth grounding me as I debated whether to open it. Something about the box felt personal, like it held secrets I wasn't sure I was ready to uncover. "Get a grip, Alex," I muttered, prying the lid open. Inside was an assortment of items, a small mirror with a golden handle, an old-fashioned perfume bottle filled with a shimmering pink liquid, and a silk scarf folded neatly alongside a booklet titled "For the New You." Beneath these lay an assortment of powders, brushes, and lipsticks, each in pristine condition despite their vintage appearance. The booklet caught my attention first. The cover featured a stylized silhouette of a woman, elegant and poised. Inside, the pages were filled with instructions, diagrams, and oddly poetic affirmations. Step into yourself. Shed what binds you. Emerge as the truest form of beauty, your beauty. I laughed, though something about the words stuck in my mind. The instructions were specific yet vague, almost as if they were written for someone who already understood their meaning. Step 1. Begin with the scent of transformation. I picked up the perfume bottle, its contents swirling as if alive. One spray wouldn't hurt, I thought. The fragrance was intoxicating, a blend of floral and musk that seemed to wrap around me like an embrace. For a moment, I felt lightheaded, my vision blurring slightly before snapping back into focus. The changes were subtle at first. My skin felt smoother that evening, and the faint shadow of stubble I usually battled was gone. I didn't think much of it. Maybe the fragrance had some hydrating properties, like those fancy colognes that double as skincare. The next morning, I woke up feeling oddly refreshed. My hair, usually a disheveled mess, fell in soft waves around my face. Running my fingers through it, I noticed it was longer, impossibly so. Panic gripped me as I stumbled to the bathroom mirror. What the? My reflection stared back, but it wasn't entirely mine. My jawline seemed softer, my cheekbones more pronounced. My lips, usually thin and chapped, appeared fuller, pinker. I rubbed my eyes, half convinced I was dreaming. The mirror from the box caught my eye, its golden frame gleaming under the bathroom light. I hadn't remembered bringing it upstairs, but there it was, propped neatly against the sink. I hesitated before picking it up. Looking into it was like peering into an alternate version of myself, a version that was undeniably feminine. The changes accelerated after that. Each item in the box seemed to call to me, begging to be used. The scarf, when wrapped around my neck, brought an inexplicable warmth that spread through my body, softening my features further and reshaping my figure in ways that defied logic. My shoulders narrowed, my waist cinched, and my hips curved subtly outward. The powders and brushes seemed to apply themselves, as if guided by unseen hands. My lashes grew longer, framing eyes that sparkled with a new light. My once flat chest began to fill out, tender and sensitive under my now loose shirt. I was terrified, yet a strange sense of calm settled over me. The booklet's affirmations played in my mind like a soothing mantra. This is who you are. Embrace it. Let it bloom. By the end of the week, I barely recognized myself. My voice had softened, my movements becoming more graceful without effort. Even my clothes felt foreign, hanging awkwardly on my increasingly feminine frame. I tried to ignore it, to push the box into the darkest corner of my closet and pretend none of it had happened. But the changes didn't stop. Every morning brought something new, a softer curve here, a subtler feature there. My reflection in the mirror became a stranger, yet she felt familiar, like a part of me I'd kept hidden for years. My friends noticed, too. Did you do something different? Sarah asked over coffee, her eyes narrowing as she studied me. Just trying some new skincare, I lied, tugging at the sleeves of my hoodie to hide my slender wrists. She didn't seem convinced, but she let it go. I couldn't let it go, though. The box haunted me, its presence a constant reminder of the transformation I couldn't control, or maybe didn't want to control. One evening, as I sat cross-legged on my bed, the booklet open in front of me, I found the final step. To complete the journey, wear the silk and speak your truth. The silk scarf lay in my lap, its fabric shimmering under the soft glow of my bedside lamp. I hesitated, the weight of the past weeks pressing down on me. Was this what I wanted? To let go of the person I thought I was and embrace the person I seemed to be becoming? I wrapped the scarf around my shoulders, its warmth enveloping me like a cocoon. Taking a deep breath, I whispered the words etched in the booklet. I am ready. A surge of energy coursed through me, lifting me off the bed as light filled the room. My body felt weightless, every cell alive and vibrating with possibility. When the light faded, I stood in front of the full-length mirror, my breath catching in my throat. The person staring back wasn't a stranger anymore. She was me, fully, unapologetically me. My hair cascaded in soft curls, framing a face that radiated confidence and serenity. My body felt balanced, harmonious in ways I never thought possible. Tears welled up as I touched my reflection, the truth sinking in. I wasn't losing myself. I was finally finding myself. The next day, I walked into the world as her. No more hiding, no more fear. The box had done its job, unlocking something within me that had always been there, waiting for permission to bloom. And as I stepped into the sunlight, I realized I didn't need the box anymore. It had given me the tools, but the transformation had always been mine to embrace. That was the day I stopped being Alex and became Alexis, a name that felt like coming home. The first week living as Alexis was a whirlwind. Everything felt sharper, brighter, more vivid than I had ever known. Walking through the park, I noticed the way the sunlight filtered through the leaves, the golden hue dancing on my skin. The breeze felt like a lover's caress against my cheeks, my senses heightened in ways I didn't know were possible. But alongside the beauty came fear. What would people say? What if someone figured out what I had been before? Despite my transformation, the world hadn't changed. I knew all too well the scrutiny I might face. I decided to test the waters cautiously. My first outing as Alexis was to a quiet bookstore on the edge of town. I picked a soft floral blouse and a flowing skirt that felt as natural on my body as a second skin. Standing in front of the mirror before leaving, I studied my reflection again. "You're beautiful," I whispered to myself, a mixture of wonder and disbelief in my voice. The bookstore was quiet, as I'd hoped. I wandered through the aisles, my fingers trailing along the spines of books. No one stared. No one whispered. For the first time, I felt invisible in the best way, just another person browsing for a good read. But when I reached the counter, my heart pounded. The cashier, a young man with kind eyes and a relaxed smile, glanced up. "Find everything okay?" he asked. His voice was casual, but it sent a wave of nerves through me. I nodded, forcing myself to respond.
"Yes, thank you," I said. The sound of my voice startled me.
It was soft and melodic, nothing like the voice I used to know. But the cashier didn't react, simply scanning my books and handing me the receipt. Have a great day, he said with a smile, and just like that, I was out the door. Walking back to my car, I felt a strange mixture of relief and exhilaration. No one had questioned me. No one had doubted who I was. For the first time, I felt like I belonged, not just to the world, but to myself. The next few days were filled with small victories like that. I ventured to coffee shops, grocery stores, even the gym, slowly building my confidence in this new reality. Each time, the fear subsided a little more, replaced by a growing sense of joy. But the transformation wasn't just physical, it was emotional, too. As Alexis, I felt lighter, freer. I laughed more easily, smiled without hesitation. I started journaling again, something I hadn't done in years. The words flowed out of me, spilling onto the pages like a flood. Today, I saw myself clearly for the first time. Not just in the mirror, but in the way I moved, the way I spoke. I felt complete. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like I've been carrying this weight my whole life without realizing it, and now it's gone. Reading those words back later, I cried. They felt so true, so raw, that it was almost painful. Despite my growing comfort, the box remained a mystery. I hadn't touched it since the night I completed the final step. It sat on my dresser, its carved swirls catching the light, almost as if it were watching me. One evening, my curiosity got the better of me. I opened the lid, half expecting to find the contents gone, as if they had vanished now that their purpose was fulfilled. But everything was still there, the mirror, the powders, the scarf, even the booklet. Flipping through the pages, I noticed something I hadn't seen before. At the very back, scrawled in elegant handwriting, was a message. Pass it on when you're ready. The journey is yours to share.
Pass it on?
To whom? The idea unsettled me. The thought of someone else going through what I had experienced felt both thrilling and terrifying. Would they embrace it as I had? Or would it feel like a curse to them? I closed the box and set it aside. That decision could wait. For now, I wanted to focus on living. Not everyone accepted the changes as easily as I hoped. My friend group was the first real test. I had avoided them for weeks, making excuses about work and errands. But Sarah wasn't one to let things slide. "Alex, we need to talk," she said over the phone one evening. "It's Alexis now," I blurted out before I could stop myself. There was a long pause on the other end. "Okay," she said finally. "Alexis, can we meet up? I need to see you." We agreed to meet at our favorite cafe. I arrived early, my hands trembling as I stirred a cappuccino that I had no intention of drinking. When Sarah walked in, her eyes widened slightly, but she quickly recovered, sliding into the seat across from me. "You look different," she said, her tone careful. I admitted. "But I'm still me, Sarah. I promise." She studied me for a long moment, her gaze searching. Then she smiled, reaching across the table to squeeze my hand. "Tell me everything," she said. I did. I told her about the box, the transformation, and the way it had changed not just my body, but my entire sense of self. I expected disbelief, maybe even anger, but she listened patiently, nodding as I spoke. When I finished, she leaned back in her chair, a thoughtful expression on her face. "Well," she said, "I've always known you were full of surprises. But this might be your best one yet." Her acceptance felt like a lifeline, pulling me further out of the shadows I had been hiding in. The weeks turned into months, and life as Alexis became my new normal. I found myself exploring new hobbies, yoga, painting, even cooking, which I had always avoided before. Everything felt like an adventure, a chance to rediscover the world through fresh eyes. But the box's message lingered in my mind. Who was I supposed to pass it on to? And how would I know when I was ready? The answer came one afternoon at the park. I was sitting on a bench, sketching the ducks in the pond, when I noticed a young man sitting nearby. He looked lost, his shoulders slumped, and his gaze distant. Something about him felt familiar, a quiet sadness that resonated deep within me. I don't know what compelled me to speak to him, but I did. "Are you okay?" I asked gently. He looked up, startled, and nodded quickly.
"Yeah."
"Just a lot on my mind." We talked for a while, our conversation flowing easily despite our initial awkwardness. His name was Daniel, and he was struggling with something he couldn't quite put into words. I just feel like, I don't know who I am, he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. The words hit me like a bolt of lightning. I knew that feeling all too well. When I got home, I opened the box again, running my fingers over its contents. The message at the back of the booklet seemed to glow under the light. Pass it on when you're ready. I wasn't sure if I was ready, but I knew Daniel needed it. The next day, I wrapped the box in brown paper and left it on his doorstep with a note. For the new you, trust the process. I didn't wait to see his reaction. The box had given me a gift, one that had changed my life forever. Now it was someone else's turn. As I walked away, a sense of peace settled over me. I didn't know what Daniel's journey would look like, but I hoped it would bring him the same sense of clarity and joy that it had given me. For the first time in my life, I felt whole, and that was a gift worth sharing. Thank you so much for watching till now. It means the world to have you here. This community is all about empowering each other and celebrating the incredible journeys of everyone on their path to living authentically. If you're ever feeling lost or alone, remember you have a whole family here for you. Hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, and let's keep inspiring each other, sending you all the love and strength in the world. Until next time, live your life by your rules.